Hi and welcome to Priori Digital Studio tutorial. In this video, I will show you how to set up and use your tax deduction spreadsheet in the most efficient way. In this video, I'm using Google Sheets, but the Excel version is exactly the same. First thing, we protect most of the cells where there are formulas to make sure that you don't erase any important formulas that could impact the spreadsheet. So if you see this message, it means you're not supposed to touch it. But don't worry, I'll show you step by step how to prepare your spreadsheet. So if you click on a cell with a formula by error and see this message, simply click on the X and you will be fine. Moreover, we established a color code to show you which cell can be edited and which one cannot. So basically, you can edit the cells that have a white background. Another small warning, please do not move a cell from one place to another. If you do move a cell, it could generate an issue by messing up the automation of the spreadsheet. The best way to avoid these errors is simply copy and paste your data. So we've added a page packed with tips and tricks and best practices to help you maximize your tax deductions. We highly encourage you to take a look. It could save you time and money. Then the first tab is the Setup tab. This is where you enter all the information needed to customize the spreadsheet for your use. In step 1, enter your currency symbol. So if you are not in dollar and you are in any other currency symbol, simply type in the symbol or the 3 letters of your currency. In step 2, list all the document types you might use for your reports, such as invoices, receipts, bills, and so on. Then in step 3, enter the names of any tax forms or official documents you need to fill out at the end of the year. So for example, if you are a solopreneur, you might need the IRS Form 1040 Schedule C or the IRS Form 1040 Schedule A for income tax reporting. Then in step 4, add all the expense categories you anticipate needing. You can enter up to 50 categories, and each category can have up to 15 subcategories. For instance, if you use Form 1040 Schedule C, it's a good idea to match the categories and subcategories exactly as they appear in that specific form. So let's take an example here. We see in number 20, the rent or lease. So this could be your main category. And then as subcategories, you have vehicle, machinery, and equipment. And the another subcategory could be other business property. And then to view the rows 25 to 50, you can simply click on the plus button in the left-hand side margin so that the rows will appear. So when you click on it, it's the only time where you can click on OK when you see this message. So if we click on OK, as you can see, row 25 to 50 will appear. If this is too big and you don't need that many lines, you can simply click on the minus sign and then it will disappear again. So now let's take a look at the Tax Deduction tab. This tab is very simple and is designed to help you list all your transactions that might be deductible. Start by entering the date of each transaction. If you're using Google Sheets, simply double-click on the cell and a small calendar will pop up, allowing you to pick the date easily. Unfortunately, Excel does not have this feature, so you'll need to enter your date manually. Next, select the appropriate category and subcategory from the drop-down menus. There's also a space to add a description. We highly recommend filling this out as it will make it easier to remember the details when tax time comes. Next, enter the company name and, if applicable, the business number. The company name is simply the name listed on the invoice. The business number can be any official number associated with the company that issued the invoice, which the government authorities might request for verification. Once that's entered, simply input the net amount. After that, input the percentage of business use. So for example, if you have an office in your house, which is used at 20% for your business and 80% for your personal use, you'd entered 20%. The deductible total will then be calculated automatically based on the amount and percentage. To help you during tax season, there's also a drop-down menu to select the document type and tax form associated with each transaction. We've included a column where you can add a link to your digital documents if you keep them stored online. Finally, check the box when you've collected the necessary documents. There's also space for any additional notes you want to add. Then, as you can see here at the top, you also have a few charts and important information. So we did the breakdown of all the information for your category, subcategory, document types, and forms. Then on the left-hand side, you can see the document collected. So here we can see that we have 242 documents collected out of 500s. So as you can see here, as soon as you check the checkbox, the progression bar will adapt and the number here went from 242 to 245. Then we have transaction today. So as you can see here, we have a small one, meaning that we only have one transaction that was logged in today's date. If we change another due date to today, then we can see that it went from 1 to 2. Then we have the last little section. This section is very important and useful to highlight some of your transaction. So you have two filters. The highlight category, so you can decide what category you want to highlight between category, subcategory, document type, and form. So let's simply click on category here. And then the drop-down menu below will adapt and you will see all your categories. Let's click on transportation here to see if we have any transaction in the subcategory transportation. As you can see here, yes, we do, and they are all highlighted in blue. So once all your data is entered in the table, you can scroll to the right and you'll see a very similar table. By default, it shows the same information, but the best part is that here you can easily filter and sort your data. So let's take an example together and see how it works. So let's use the category filter, use the drop-down menu, and select something here. So let's select transportation. As you can see here, now we only have the transaction in the transportation category. So then let's use another filter. Let's use the document type. So let's select something here and see how the filter will react. As you can see here, we filtered by transportation and then invoice. So let's remove the filter and take another example. So to remove the filter, simply click on the filter that you decided on and then click on delete. As you can see, all the data will reappear again. So now let's take a look at the mileage tab. So the first thing to do here is to set up the tab with the green table at the top left. So you can choose to use the kilometer or the mile as a unit. And then you can add up to 5 different mileage rates. So for example, if you start your bookkeeping in 2024 and the mileage rate was $0.655 per mile, then you simply have to enter the rate, the start date as January 1st, for example, and the end date as December 31st. Then if in 2025 the rate is different, then you will be able to set up another rate for 2025 without affecting your recording from 2024. So 2 different warnings might appear in this table. The first one is if the start date and the end date are inverted. In this situation, a warning message will pop below the table and the 2 dates concerned will be highlighted in yellow. Then the second warning is if 2 dates ranges overlap. In this situation, a warning message will pop below the table and the dates concerned will be written in red. So if you see these warnings, it means that you have to change at least one date and it might affect your recording and your account balances. Once this tab is set up, you can start to track all your mileage in the table below. So simply enter the date and the number of kilometers or miles. The amount is auto-populated based on the mileage rate defined above and the date. So we also left some space for a small description and you can also choose the form from the drop-down menu accordingly. And finally, you also have some space for notes. So once all your data is in the table, you can simply scroll to the right and you will be able to filter and sort all your data exactly like you did in the Tax Deduction Entries tab. So now let's take a look at the Annual Dashboard tab. This tab allows you to easily visualize all your expenses for the year. First, enter the year and select the month that will define the starting point of the 12 months period that you want to view. Next, choose whether you want to see deductible amounts or net amounts. This selection will automatically calculate the corresponding values based on the data entered in the Tax Deduction Entries tab. Then enter the deadline to fill your form, and the spreadsheet will automatically calculate the number of days remaining. Below that, you'll find 3 automated totals: the total net amount, deductible amount, and the total mileage for the year. On the right side, there are 4 charts. The first is a bar chart showing your expenses month by month. It will display either the deductible or net amounts depending on your selection. Next, there are 3 pie charts. You can choose what data to visualize in each. either the category, subcategory, document type, form, or document collected, and the chart will update automatically. Finally, below the charts, there are 4 detailed tables showing all your categories, subcategories, document types, and forms for the selected period. And then within each table, you can see all their categories with a total amount associated. Now let's take a look at the 5-year dashboard tab. This tab is very similar to the annual dashboard, but it displays your data over a 5-year period. Start by entering the starting year and month, then use the drop-down menu to choose whether you want to view the net amounts or deductible amounts. An additional feature in this tab is the ability to filter your data by category, subcategory, document type, form, or documents collected. Below that, you'll see 3 key figures calculated automatically: the total net amount, the total deductible amount, and the total mileage for the 5-year period. On the right side, there's a bar chart showing your yearly expenses, and below that, a comparison chart displaying the net amount versus the deductible amount for each year. At the bottom, you'll find 5 pie charts and 5 detailed tables, one for each year based on the filter you selected at the top. For example, if you choose to view net amounts by categories, then you'll see the breakdown of net amount for each category across the 5 years. Now let's take a look at the Form tab. This tab helps you review your expenses and categories for each tax form. This is certainly the most interesting tab to help you fill in a specific form at the end of the year. First, enter the year and use the drop-down menu to select the starting month of your business fiscal year, or simply the civil year if you're using this template for personal use. Next, in the View Form section, choose the specific form you want to see or fill in from the drop-down menu. You'll see the total deductible amount for that form along with the number of documents collected. These numbers are pulled directly from the data you entered in the Tax Deduction Entries tab and the Mileage tab. On the right side, there's a bar chart showing your expense broken down by month. Below that, you'll find a detailed breakdown of all your deduction categories for the selected form, organized by month, category, and subcategory. This table is especially useful when it is time to file in your taxes. It will help you complete your form easily. You'll also see the subtotal for each category broken down by month, as well as the total amount spent per month. So as you can see here, categories are highlighted in gray, and below are listed all its subcategories. So let's take an example together and look at the office supply. So as you can see here, office supply is a big category, and right underneath we can see 3 subcategories. So the vehicle maintenance, professional dues, and prescription meds. So as you can see here, for February, we have the total for the office supply, which is $2,698. Then this number is split in between 2 subcategories. So about $2,300 in the vehicle maintenance and $375 in the professional dues. So these 2 numbers added is the $2,698 from the office supply big category. So best of all, in this tab, everything is totally automated, so you do not need to enter any extra information. So now let's take a look at the Annual Prep Checklist tab. This tab is designed to help you stay organized throughout the year, so your tax deductions are much easier to handle when the tax season comes around. This tab is divided into 2 main sections. The first section lets you list all the basic setup and organization tasks, like organizing your receipt, creating digital or physical folders, and similar things. As you complete each task, you can check it off and the progress bar will update to show how much you've accomplished. The second section helps you track your tasks and spending by category. For example, if you have a category called Office and Supplies, which is pretty common, you could track expenses like office supplies, software, or tech equipment such as laptop. This way you won't forget anything important. When you check off task here, the progress bar will also update accordingly. So additionally, to avoid any errors, we also added a conditional formatting. So if you check a checkbox and there is no data written in the description, it will be highlighted in red. Use this tab to keep yourself organized and maximize your deductions. Also, all the big categories that you see here and all the little tasks, we left them in the original spreadsheet so that it helps you when it's tax time. You can, of course, add more as needed. So that's it. I hope this tutorial helps you easily set up your spreadsheet. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or concerns. Follow Priori Digital Studio on YouTube for sneak peeks on our new templates.